Greetings and salutations. Quiz again, and we are back for more of the hardcore one talent challenge. And if you were not here for the first few parts, I will refresh your memory on the rules I've imposed upon myself. First is I can only invest in one talent through all of normal. Skills are allowed when you get them granted to you by items. So, for example, I have 2 to Molten Boulder and 1 to Werebear on the helm. I can use Molten Boulder and Werebear if I'm so inclined, because they were gifted to me. However, I'm only allowed to pick one talent, and then I have to invest all my points into that talent until I complete normal. Once I move to Nightmare, I can pick another talent, and then a third talent in Hell difficulty. And we're just going to see how far we can make it. Now, this is on the new season of Hardcore. I'm not expecting to make the ladder or anything. But it's more along the lines of, I just want to see if one talent challenge can be done. I mean, I made it pretty far with an Amazon. I think I made it to like Act 3 or Act 4 with an Amazon on Hardcore. It was a while ago. And I didn't have that big of an issue with it because you could just invest in a Magic Arrow and it seems pretty easy. Because then Magic Arrow becomes free. Matter of fact, Magic Arrow becomes so free that it starts costing you negative mana, and it starts refunding you mana. However, I thought, well, who else could do it? I did try a Barbarian once, and that one's a little bit harder. But we're going to see if we can do this. Now, I really wish my Merc would turn on his aura. Apparently my mercenary doesn't want to turn on his aura, and he just wants to die. Razan, you think maybe you could turn on that aura, buddy?
Thanks.
I don't even know how to give potions to my mercenary with a what's the word I'm looking for? Shortcut. This is one of the hardest acts to deal with because of all the blind and all of the poison and fire and ranged attacks. It definitely wreaks havoc on a lot of characters. Even the Amazon that I had struggles. Because if you look, my attack rating now with the combat shrine says I have 95% chance to hit them. But without the combat shrine, we all know that it wouldn't be a 95% chance. It would be substantially lower. But we're going after Radamant. Hopefully I can do this this act in only 4 episodes. I think the key thing that's going to be the test is Duriel. I mean, truthfully, it's going to be Duriel. I mean, yes, the Ravens don't have collision, so they could just fly right over the top. But I think Duriel's going to be a bit of a challenge just because he can slow me down. And unless I make, like, stealth chess piece or something, stealth rune word, and get the, that Tal F going, there's the aura I wanted. If I can get a Tal and an F rune, I can make a stealth chess piece. Which would give me the run speed I need to kind of stay ahead of Duriel. I don't want to try to gimmick it or cheese it down by using town portals when I get to Duriel. That's to increase the difficulty. Whether or not I'll be able to actually do it's another thing. We're hoping to get there, though. I mean, I'm not one to give up on something. And like I stated before, once I die, I'm going back and I'll make another character and I'll try it all over again. I think one of the hardest ones is going to be Sorceress. Because with a Sorceress, you're going to want to invest into Warmth to get that mana regen. But then again, you can get a lot of Sacred Globes to give you bonus to skills. But if you're investing all your time into Warmth, you're not going to have any damage whatsoever except for melee damage, which then makes Warmth completely worthless. And if you invest into a spell, the mana consumption is going to go right out of sight. So you're going to have to balance between vitality and energy, which is going to make it really interesting for a sorceress. I think Necromancer will have a pretty easy go of it. Amazon has a pretty easy go of it. Assassin's an interesting choice because I think you can wait till level 6 and do Cobra Strike. But that remains to be seen. I haven't really tried an Assassin. I tinkered around with the idea a while ago, and I never really got very far, and I just kind of put it on the back burner. I was back during my streaming days. It didn't. I guess people didn't really care much for Diablo back when I was streaming. Don't know why. It's a good game, and I'm glad they made the remake. A lot of people didn't like the remake, but seeing the dark and gritty nature of the lighting effects really improving it, it's just a good game. I mean, obviously it was met with some problems because of you had character rubber banding issues and stuff like that, and people were losing their hardcore character. But that's some of the drawbacks of playing online. This at least offers an offline mode. But I don't really care to do offline mode. And for the sole purpose of not caring to do offline mode is because it's too gimmicky. I could always just be like, oh yes, well I found this in my offline play. I don't do any offline play on this. Like, everything I've done has been done on camera so far.
Thanks.
And there's a reason I do it on camera. And there's a reason I'm doing it for the videos. I want it all chronicled. Of course, again, I'm a stickler for not editing. Now, that's an unpopular opinion. A lot of people are like, oh, you need an editor, you need to edit your videos, to make it entertaining and to make it... Okay, yeah, I'll put it to you this way. Look, if it's not entertaining to begin with, it's not going to be entertaining at all. It's a pretty fair assumption. There's no amount of meme sound effects and other things that you could throw in it that are going to make it entertaining, right? If the content you're creating is not entertaining to begin with, you got to find something that is. I mean, like, my But Will It Snipes. They're pretty entertaining. Give or take. They've got higher viewer metrics on my channel than Diablo currently does. But Diablo's picked up a little bit of steam, and like I said, I kind of like playing the game. I just enjoy... Even though I'm playing alone, I enjoy going through and doing a challenge like this. It's not your standard Diablo playthrough. And I'm not even going to take a stamina potion because I just realized how close I am to a level. And that's just going to give me all my stamina back. But it's one of those things that a lot of people, like, they don't... There are people out there that do a challenge, right? But I really sat down and I thought, what character is the strongest with only one talent? And that's really what got to me. Now, hold on. Let me see if I can up the equalizer a little bit. There we go. Get a little bit more background sound. I don't want it to be too loud in the combat, but I don't want it to be too soft so that there's nothing back there. I know, that's where the editors come in and say, oh, that's why you should edit. Well, that's the thing. By leaving it unedited, it lets people know, hey, this guy's doing it off the cuff. More ravens. I'm gonna need more life, for sure. But back to what I was saying prior, is I really wanted to see what classes could do it with only one talent. I figured, that one of the easier ones would be, well, at most 3 talents, to be fair. I'm assuming I make it through normal, it's 3 talents. I assumed that the Necromancer would be one of the easiest classes to do, just because you get skeletons. You can put points into skeletons, and then it's pretty much smooth sailing, because the more points you put into skeletons, the more life they get, the more damage they get, etc., so on and so forth. Not 100% of the time, but a fair amount of the time. And then you realize that Skeleton Mastery does more for skeletons than actual plus the skeletons does. So Necromancer might be an interesting take, too. We'll have to give it a look. But again, that's gotta wait till this guy bites the biscuit. Hopefully he doesn't. Though my next point's gonna go into Wolf. Because the Wolves get extra damage from Ravens, and they'll give me a front line to work with. I also fear going into the Maggot Lair. Because the Maggot Lair's got a lot of the Death Beetles, and the lightning damage, because Ravens don't have collision, the lightning damage will go right underneath the Ravens, and just shred me. Completely shred my life total. So, it's... Ooh, Elden Rune. That's an Elden Rune. Kind of like Elden Ring. But better. That's my personal opinion. But no, the lightning damage is going to go right underneath the Ravens, and just absolutely eviscerate my life total. So I have to watch out for that. Aside from that, I think Duriel is going to be the other big hurdle. Anything after that's pretty much easy. This is looking to be a little dicey already. That's interesting. Well, maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, I spoke too soon. I
Can't carry me.
really, of course you can't.
Rudiment, return to dust.
I can't even put this talent in. That's the other drawback. You eventually start getting too many skill points, and now you have to hold them. And it hurts the standard Diablo player, because the standard Diablo player sits there and there's like, yeah, I got a new talent, I can put it in. Doing this challenge really, really hamstrings you in that regard. What? Those are the parameters I set upon myself, and those are the parameters I shall keep. Fire resist isn't going to help me right yet. Keeping that. Lightning resist. That's kind of poo. I was thinking about using it, but then I realized it says slow attack speed, and then I thought, no. I have a Neff and an Eld. It's not a Tal and an F yet. We're hoping. Yeah, I'm going to get my mercenary back.
Good evening.
Grab another one of those. So going to need more stamina. And again, the stealth rune word will help with that too.
Yes, citizen.
Just because you get the extra movement speed. Oh, something else. The beginning of September, there is going to be a variation of videos coming out on my my channel. Of course, you know, with the end of August, August 30th, and moving forward, you're going to have what is essentially Black Ops 6 content for videos. They'll be on my channel, and you will have starting September, you will have what is called Regulation H. Now, I kind of want to elaborate on Regulation H because not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people play it. But I'm going to kind of give you a little, I don't know, I guess to say a look into the world of. Regulation H is for competitive Pokemon. Scarlet and Violet competitive Pokemon battles. Now, again, like I said, most people don't normally play, competitive Pokemon battles, or nor do they put them up. But I will. And the reason I will is because Regulation H is taking away something that I think has been a bane of the existence for mankind when it comes to Pokemon, which is this current regulation rule set. The current regulation rule set says Regulation G allows all Pokemon to be used, with I think maybe 2 minor exceptions. And there's just the stat imbalance alone makes it not fun to play. It narrowed the entire pool of 1,000 plus Pokemon down to maybe 20. And that's not good. You want it to be, you know, you want it to be a deeper field than that. You want to have variety in your teams. Hold on just one second. I had a thought. I could do a Regulation G battle, and you could see what I'm talking about. And then I could do a Regulation H battle in September, and then you'll see the difference. I might do that. I might tinker around with that, but I don't think it'll go very far. I don't think a lot of people will like it. However, Regulation G opens it up to a much bigger variety, and I'll explain that here in a second. You have right now in Regulation G, Regulation H, sorry, opens up a bigger environment. Right now in Regulation G, you have what is essentially almost an auto-include into every team. And that's Incineroar. Now, to really get into understanding the metagame of Pokemon battling, it's not as simple as, oh, well, it's a fire type, use a water. Or use a ground type. It goes deeper than that, because you have what are called effort values, and then you have individual values. Effort values, obviously, are the effort you put in, which you can easily use, like irons and other vitamins like that to quickly get effort values. And then... Or you can go through it the old way, which is just grinding out Pokemon with a power item equipped. Now, they did make it easier. They streamlined it, obviously, for the newer generations, so it's easier to actually EV train. Individual values are just that. They are like individual static values, ranging from 0 to 31. And in most cases, 31 is the best. There are a couple of exceptions to that rule, but I won't get into that. After you have your team, you obviously have to have a moveset. Now, the reason why Incineroar is so popular is because of its ability, Intimidate, which cuts attack. And then its moves being Fake Out, which is first turn, first move, causes, the enemy to flinch. And then they do what is Parting Shot, which lowers their attack and special attack. So he's kind of an auto-include in every team. You can only play against him so many times before you just get bored of seeing Incineroar. And that's exactly what the problem is with Regulation G. And then you'll see things like, Rayquaza, Dialga, and it's always the same movesets, and so on. One of the things under Regulation G, they did a tournament, and they did a Regulation G tournament. I can tell you right now that the Regulation G tournament, I'll let my stamina regen here, which is down here for those that don't know. It's my stamina. The Regulation G tournament, I think, had a low turnout. And even in that low turnout, 73% of the people ran Fluttermane. That should tell you something. Right? It doesn't matter what game you play. Well, let's say you play Magic the Gathering, and you cannot stand, like, goblin, aggressive goblin decks, goblin aggro, where they just rush down, where they could just rush you down and you don't really have anything you can do about it, right? Let's say you absolutely hate that deck archetype. And 73% of the people are now playing that exact deck archetype. You'd not want to play very much. In fact, you'd probably quit. And that's what happened. A lot of the Regulation G players are like, this is no fun because it's all legendaries, Fluttermanes, Incineroars, etc. And you can almost guess the first 3 moves coming out of the opponent. Which, if you're playing the game, predicting is great. But if you're, broadcasting the game and kind of shoutcasting the game as an observer and a spectator, it's kind of lame. You kind of want that variety being the spice of life, so to speak. Well, it got very one-dimensional in Pokemon. And in that one-dimensional nature, it started losing popularity. Well, Regulation H removes Fluttermane and removes other Pokemon from the pool, thus making it more accessible for more variety. So you're going to see teams that are just off the wall, which is a good thing. You want that random approach when it comes to a team building. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to see Intimidate users being thrown out there first, and there's a multitude of Intimidate users. One of them I can think of off the top of my head is Scrafty. He has Intimidate. He can use things like Fake Out, so he's definitely an Intimidate, viable Intimidate user out there. And he offers other support tools, but you can see where I'm getting at. You can see kind of what I'm getting at here. You'll see more options hitting the table, so to speak. It's not always going to be the same thing carbon copied from one player to the next. And having that new pool and that new regulation, I'm kind of excited to get back to the roots of Pokemon. Back when I used to battle ages ago, when I first got into the competitive scene and had to build my Pokemon from the ground up. Now I'm really well established on what I have, and it doesn't take me any time to actually EV train something and make something. So knowing that I can crank out a team in no time. There are limitations, obviously, because there are certain things I run out of currency, Poké Dollars, League points, whatever. And in running out of those, yeah, it kind of sucks. But, you got to do what you got to do. You don't really have, many other options other than playing the game to get it. So, but I like it. It's enjoyable. So I'm going to have that content as well as Black Ops 6 content late August, early September. So that's something you can look forward to if it's your thing. As for like Pokemon battling, honestly, I would say don't knock it till you see it. Don't knock it till you try it, kind of thing, because it's a lot more fun than it looks. The strategy in it is way deeper than a child's game. Like they like to say, oh, Pokemon's a kid's game. It's not. It's the strategy that's in it is exceedingly deep. So there are people out there that can truly appreciate it, and I think it was Disguised Toast that actually did it. He after he got done playing Among Us and got done playing Hearthstone, he was tinkering around with Pokemon battles, and somebody had built him a team and put it together, and he did the rough math on the number of first turn permutations you could have in competitive Pokemon, and he said it was in the billions or trillions. Given the number of Pokemon, the number of first turn options, and the fact that you're in a double battle, he lended to having more and more and more options to choose from for your first maneuvers. And you have to think about things like moves that have AoE, like Bulldoze or Earthquake. They'll hit your allies unless they're immune. So that stuff is all stuff you have to put in your head in advance. It's not even overly complex either. I mean, it's very easy to understand. Even when they added, new types like Fairy, Dark, and Steel, it was easy to adapt and to find out what the weaknesses were. and then just kind of go from there. Like, one of the weaknesses for Dark is Fairy, and another one of the weaknesses for Dark is Bug, as well as fighting. You know, Steel's got fighting type as a weakness, it's also got fire type as a weakness, so on and so forth. So it was not that hard to adapt to, and it kind of rounded out the much needed balance that was lacking in the game. So it's something that I look forward to doing. I also look forward to finishing this series as much as possible before the start of the next one. I don't want my character to die, but that's life. It's one of those, that which is created must be destroyed, that kind of thing. So if it happens, it happens, and I'll see it through to the end. Now, I had contemplated playing hardcore WoW, but that's not my bag. It really isn't. Like, I don't really care for it all that much. I tried it, and it's just, I don't know. It doesn't come across as fun as Diablo could be, I guess. And I don't know. It's not really, not because I have a biased lens or anything like that. Because I've played WoW for, what's it been? Almost 20 years now? 18 years? I mean, I used to play retail, but not anymore. And now I play, what's it called? Give me a second, I'll think of it. I play Season of Discovery and Classic. And one of the things I don't like in Classic is the fact that they went to Cataclysm, but I just kind of have to deal with it. Other than that, Classic's fine. I don't play the Classic, but I play Standard Classic, and I like Retail Classic, so to speak. Now, I just noticed, out of the corner of my eye, that I've already been at this 27 minutes. 27. The time just flies right by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out getting the Herodric Cube. And once I get the Herodric Cube, I will call this episode done. And then I will be moving on to the next one, which is hopefully going to be us getting through the Maggot Lair and getting through the Claw Viper Temple. Hopefully unscathed. Like I said, Maggot Lair has... It's got its moments. It's been a known taker of lives. Or it can be a known taker of lives, I should say. I think people... This is just me having a random thought here at the end of the video. I think people gave this game an unfair shake. Because this game came out ages ago. And I think the unfair shake they gave it was the fact that, it's Activision Blizzard putting out a recreated project, and they didn't really have to do anything about it. They just had to, put a new coat of paint on it and call it a day. Yeah, I get that. I can understand why people would be upset. However, if you've never played Diablo 2, definitely play this variety. The remake. Now, people would say, why play the remake? Why not just get the original? Well, the original sometimes requires compatibility mode to run in, but if you're really missing the old school look and feel of Diablo 2, you can get the old school look and feel of Diablo 2. Now, I didn't want it zoomed in, but I accidentally hit two keys at the same time. Yeah, that's if you want the old school look right there. See? So you can still have the old school look and feel with the press of a button. That's the G key. I think people shouldn't just... I don't think they should judge this game unfairly. I really don't. It's true to its source material. It's not like they changed anything, and they treated it very well. Like, there's a lot of franchises that when they redo something, they botch it horribly, and I mean horribly. And this one they did not botch it at all. They upscaled all of the they upscaled all the videos so they look really good, and they left the old voice actors intact, the old voice lines intact, which is great because nobody could beat those old voice actors. I mean, they nailed the voice acting back then, but they just took the visuals and said, you know what, let's tweak them, and it looks great. I honestly believe that they did the right decision by doing that. It was one of the smartest moves I think Blizzard has made with a recreated franchise. Well, not recreated franchise, but a remaster of a franchise. Adding the combined stash, which is a quality of life improvement, is great. Adding things like allowing the offline play as well as allowing the online play, great. Like, I would have to say they treated this game as well as they treated any of their original products. And I have no qualms about saying that. No qualms at all. Because I saw what they did to Warcraft 3 Reforged. Right? Everybody saw what they did to Warcraft 3 Reforged.
It is an honor to serve you.
It was an absolute war crime what they did to that game. And, ooh, Magic Find. I sold it. Yeah, but that's got lightning resist. So I kind of need that more. And with them doing what they did to the, with Warcraft 3, doing what they did to Warcraft 3, it was a shame. And they should be ashamed of themselves by doing that.
Good day.
I mean, it wasn't just the fact that they redid storyline and redid some of the voice acting, and they made it so that you can have female Death Knights randomly. And it's like, none of that was intended. None of that was intended in the game. And they rebuilt it from the ground up, and they screwed it up a lot. The dev tools got enhanced, but they messed it up a lot for Diablo, or not Diablo, for Warcraft 3 Reforged. And it was a giant mistake. But this one, they stayed true to the source material, and so it's a good one. I totally recommend people picking it up. If you haven't, get it on sale or whatever. You can check other discount places. Maybe you can find it on sale or pre-owned. And you can even get it on your Nintendo Switch. I know what you're thinking. Why would I want it on a Switch? Why would I not want it on, like, PS5 or Xbox? Well, here's the reason I say you can get it on the Nintendo Switch. They're all cross-play and cross-progressive, which means I could go down and grab my Switch, go into the bathroom, and continue playing this Druid, right? Or I could just come up in whatever progress I make on the Druid, I could come back up here and play it again. Perfectly fine and dandy, no problem. But the Switch is the only one you can take on the road with you. Short of having an actual Steam Deck, which I don't know if Diablo is actually on Steam, but short of having a Steam Deck, you can't take Diablo 2 on the road with you. You can take Diablo Immortal on the road with you, but that's not this. But that's going to do it for this video. We got the Project Cube, we killed Bradamant. Next step is going to be the Dry Hills, get the Waypoint, Maggot Lair, Claw Viper Temple, and try to get there. And I probably are going to do it in 3 videos and kill Duriel in the 3rd. But I hope everybody had a fantastic evening. Hope everybody has a wonderful tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. I had fun playing it. I had fun waxing philosophically about Pokemon and other things. And as always, have a good one.